Pleasure and privilege to welcome Professor Samdhong Rinpoche to the Cathedral for this discussion on mind training and compassion applied to everyday life. He'll speak to us in a few moments. You don't need me to tell you he's a distinguished scholar, and his multilingual capacities and his efforts to be fluent not only in language but in science, in things religious and things interreligious, cross-cultural. His important work on study of and authoritative teaching with regard to Gandhi. All of these have impressed so many for so long. He is actually a young man in terms of his energy and passion, and if you don't know that, you're about to witness it. And it has been important to all of us that he's also been engaged in this remarkably fruitful enterprise of trying to understand the mind. I mean, it's fascinating, especially, frankly, as someone who does not purport to be any kind of expert in Buddhism or even meditation, frankly, but to see how right people have had certain elements of this, the core elements of how the mind really works and its relationship to what it means to be fully human and our capacity to connect what we say we value and what we mean to do with what actually happens in our lives. And so sadly, at a time when other people, religious or suggesting they're religious, are, among other things, discrediting science. Here we have a tradition that holds up under scientific scrutiny and embraces those learnings and, in fact, informs them. He also travels extensively, as you know, to gain support for the cause of Tibetan authority and autonomy, and with the Dalai Lama to raise awareness in that very complex set of negotiations. That's not our topic tonight. Our topic tonight is to hear how a man who has lived a life of growing consciousness can help all of us to be more fully what we are meant to be. I'm honored to present His Eminence, Samdhong Rinpoche. You'll speak from here.
Most Reverend Dame, venerable monks, and dear friends. I have been asked to speak this afternoon, mind training and compassion applied to everyday life. I beg in the beginning your forgiveness that I do not comfortably speak English language. Therefore, my vocabulary is very limited, and sometimes I do not able to express myself fully. So please bear with me. Apart from that, today my voice is also not very good. I have lost the voice partially since this morning. The topic of discussion is mind training and compassion. To understand the mind is the first requisite to train it. And there are many different concepts of mind. From the Buddhist viewpoint, the mind has a number of different categories and layers. On the one hand, we might categorize the mind, the gross mind, the subtle mind, and the subtlest mind. Within the concept of consciousness, that means a potential to knowing or potential to perceiving external subjects or matters, that is called as mind, which is operating the person. What is a person? What is individual? The concept of individual is a combination of mind, body, and speech. In the Buddhist terminology, this is called as the three doors of action. The body and speech is under the command of mind, and that mind has a number of different parts or portions, which is at the subtlest level, it's stainless, clear, and nothing contamination is entered into its nature. But it's a gross level, this mind is polluted or clouded by numerous negative emotions or concepts or thought process. You can categorize the mind into two groups, the positive mind and the negative mind. Or, on the other way, it can be categorized perceiving mind and conceiving mind. The entire conceiving mind is within the category of thought forces, as we usually say. The thought is always dealing with the image, and the perception is always dealing with the reality. Without recognizing, identifying one's own various levels of mind, then to train the mind may not be an easy job. In order to train the mind, we have to understand how the mind is functioning or operating at the various levels, and whatever the mind is functioning, its basic source would be the subtlest mind, which may call it a subtlest consciousness, or the continuum of the consciousness which comes from previous life, beginningless, and which goes to the next. till someone is liberated oneself from the bondage of defilement and karmic force. Even then, the enlightened mind, the continuum of enlightened mind still continues unceasingly. So therefore, according to a Buddhist concept, the consciousness or the mind does not have any beginning and it does not have any end, except few Buddhist tenets belonging to a Sarvakyan. They have a conception of ending of mind when individuals enter into the Niravashesh Nirvana. That means no residue freedom. But that is not accepted by majority of the Buddhist traditions of the philosophy. Since the mind is flexible and not entered contamination in its nature, whatever defilements are temporarily coming from external factors, thereby it is removable. When we take the antidote of negative emotions and practice in that way, the negative emotions or the negative mind can be reduced, suppressed, and finally can be eradicated. For the eradication, perceive the ultimate truth. The ultimate truth means the real nature of the entire phenomenon, how things exist. With the help of name and thought, without any inherent existence of by its own nature, or the wideness of existing by its own nature independently, that is the ultimate reality. When you perceive this ultimate reality, then the source of entire negative emotions are completely eradicated. Having said that, what are the basic methods of training the mind? For training the mind, there is a process of learning, examination, and meditative state of mind. At the first level, we need to understand the nature of mind and its negativity and the antidotes of the negativity that shall have to be learned either from hearing from the masters or teachers or reading from books or literature. And this is the first stage of accumulating information, that is understanding from hearing. In Sanskrit we call it Shrutimay Gyan. Understanding inculcated or created from learning or hearing or reading at the stage of receiving the information. That receiving information need to be
Tibetan Buddhism has been divided into two, Shukin and non-Shukin. Who has caused the suffering? It's you.
Pardon? Let him be there. I could not hear his question clearly, but I think he was saying that Tibetan Buddhism has a Shruti or no Shruti. I don't understand what he is referring to, no Shruti. All the religious tenets within the category of Shruti, because it can be taught through teacher to disciple. I was referring the process of training the mind at the first level to the accumulation of information through reading or through hearing, and that is the first stage of understanding, and it is within the category of thought process or knowledge level. And that knowledge has to be examined through analytical meditation. Contemplative meditation means meditating on the basic information which you have acquired through your own mental examination and analyzation using various logic and reasoning. Then you reach to a stage of inner realization, adhigam. That inner realization means that what you have accumulated the information at the level of hearing is either correct or incorrect, real or unreal, truth or untruth, and what kind of modification should be done, so on and so forth. Then the second level of understanding, the Chintaning my Gyan, that means understanding acquired from your own analytical meditative mind. And that is a knowledge which can be considered as authentic, reliable. Only the understanding acquired from the hearing or from reading may not be reliable or authentic. Buddha have repeatedly said that you don't believe because Buddha have said it. You have to understand by yourself through analytical meditation and through your own logic and examination. This is the real level of understanding from where it begins, that cultivation of mind or training of mind real begins, because the understanding acquired from hearing alone does not make to transform or to alter the mindset as it is. Then at the second level, you have the knowledge or understanding for your own analytical meditation. When you acquire the authentic understanding, then you can begin to meditate on. Meditation on it, you will achieve the real perception of the thing, whatever the phenomenon, whatever you are analyzing through the analytic perception of it. That perception is not an assumption or just belief or just acceptance, but it is real seeing. Seeing means direct perception, and that transforms your mind. So this is a process of training the mind, and this process also have when it reaches to the meditative level, grossly it would be three different kind a meditation which is in the nature of cultivating the mind, and another meditation which is in the nature of practicing the concentration, concentrative stability to be achieved. And the third category is a meditation of visualization. Visualization means visualize something which may not be there in reality, but in the mind picture you can visualize something. Real purpose of training the mind, the meditation of visualization or meditation a kind of facilitator. The real meditation you have to do is the nature of cultivation. Nature of cultivation means you have to rely on much more on the analytical meditation than the concentrative meditation. Your mind is in nature pure and uncontaminated, but temporarily your mind is diluted with hate, anger, lust, greed, attachment, and so on. All these negative emotions might happen, and it always arising to a default real, and the cultivation means are opposite of compassionate mind, love, and nature of emotion. Particularly, the compassionate mind is being distorted or being destroyed or being kept away by a feeling of hate and anger. Hate and anger is the real cause of